Welcome back, everybody. Nozzlehead Extra Innings, where we're going to talk about some of the topics that are going to supplement some of the videos we've already got on the channel here. And what we're looking at today is going into the value of limiting resprays and why it's important that we get it right the first time. I'm Brady Kapler, Tech Service Rep for BSF here in Nebraska.
I'm Jared Roskamp, Tech Service Rep in Illinois, Missouri.
All right, Jared, and today we're going to get into that topic of why is it important to get the right thing done the first time versus just, hey, we can always go back and respray it.
Well, right? Brady, I mean, that's I guess not a time age topic, but it seems like we've had resprays since there's been herbicides, and nobody likes them. And so I guess today I think if we really start to look at a broad picture, whether you're a grower or retailer, what was actually costing us as we go back out there? For me, the first thing I think of is time. We all have a ton of things to do when it comes summertime, and resprays are something that really suck up that time where we could be doing something else, even something else more fun if you want to go to the lake or whatnot. But also there's the cost of machinery, right? It costs you something to run over that sprayer. I think our national data that we pulled together on this estimates it costs at least 50 cents an acre to run your sprayer back across that, even if you own it yourself, right? So somebody's eating that cost, because even the best respray policies today by any company really don't cover the application portion of it. So there is a cost involved with that. And again, to me, time is the most important part there. And then again, lastly, frustration, the having to see the fields out there and then try and go knock them down at the very end when they're tough to kill anyway. All those things make reach sprays just a really almost hated item of something that you have to do through the summer. So, to me, I think I brought this topic up for us to talk about, because really all that can be prevented to some level. And that's what we really should be talking about today.
And I'd add in there too the weather piece, because the weather is such a factor anyway. It's tough enough to get the first spray done correctly and find the weather cooperating with it. Now we're wanting to go back and find another window when we can do that again, and how many acres do we have to cover and everything else like that. And are we running over into another window of time for another crop spraying or whatever, whether we're a retailer or a grower? It's pretty limited. Like you said, there's a lot to do. And so I think, all these things really drive home the point of we got to try to do everything we can in our power to get it done right the first time.
And this year of all years, with the supply constraints that we've seen, getting it right the first time and not having to rely on having that product for a respray, because it may or may not be there, I think even elevates this topic even more. And so as I think about how to reduce my resprays as grower, retailer, you name it, all starts with a good plan. And that planning hopefully has been made here prior to springtime. But if you haven't, what does that plan look like? We know from our data that 2 pass programs are more successful than 1 pass programs as far as limiting resprays. Matter of fact, a program like Verdict followed by Armazon Pro within our database has less than 1% of those acres resprayed. That's pretty impressive to me. That's a pretty solid system that you can count on to not have to worry about going back. Whereas a 1 pass corn system, if you guys have used that, again, back to your point, Brady, on Mother Nature, there's a lot of times that they're pretty risky for the need of a respray. So sometimes just the plan that we have on the program that we've selected does matter, right?
Absolutely. And it starts, you gotta make the proper selection of the products that you're working with. You've got a plan laid out, and you've got to, utilize residuals in there. And it's not just utilizing a residual, it's utilizing the correct residual that you need out there. Something that's going to cover the weed spectrum, something that's going to be you're going to have enough residual out of that it's going to last for you. And then also something that is able to be activated too with that type of thing. Are you irrigated? Are you dry land? What's the weather conditions right now in Nebraska? We've been very dry. I know down in your neck of the woods, it's been a little bit different, but you have to select these residual products, right? Not only just for, hey, I'm going to add a residual, but am I controlling the weed spectrum that's out there? And am I getting enough out there to make a difference?
Yeah, and lastly, make every application count, right? You got the right products in the tank. Let's make sure they went out properly. We get the right tips on there. We've taken our time mixing and loading it, so we're not gunking something up and getting partial rates, heavy rates out through the field. Make sure it goes out with the right adjuvants too. If you want to talk about limiting resprays, we got to make every chemistry in that tank count every time, and that's all back to the setup and the plan, right? You know, you're going out with a dicamba or a Liberty. They got way different setups on how they work best. Make sure you got those set up properly and you get the most out of every pass across that field.
And I think, you brought a point there too about loading and mixing, and that's one of the things that's kind of near and dear to me. I talk to a lot of people about is you may set up something you think is very convenient, and that is, hey, I got a tank, I got it all here, I can load it quickly. But what's happening to those products in that tank where I've got this hot mix, if I will, type of thing, or hot load, where I just all pump it all into one? Is it staying homogeneous? Is it well mixed and everything else like that? Do I have even the ability to mix it in that large tank? Or am I better off taking and making sure that those products are well mixed and I'm introducing them to the sprayer one at a time, and then I'm able to assure that I've got an ability to mix those things? And I think you can't overlook that, because it may seem like quick and convenient now, but just as we talked about all these things, when you come back to respray, how much does that cost you in time and dollars and everything else?
And I think that's a good wrap up there, Brady, is the time spent now doing it right and making the plan prevents that time later when it's frustrating, and it's time we didn't have to spend, but because we possibly could have prevented it. Again, Mother Nature is always going to have some extreme or something that's going to maybe have resprays more or less in some years. And we're never going to get rid of all resprays. I promise that, right? We're always going to have some. But the national average, I think, is 10% or more of resprays, if you look at some of the data that BASF has. And with the right plan, the right program, we can significantly drop that to there's less acres you're going to have to go clean up. And again, I think back to all the points we made, a good program with the right products at the right time, we're going to have a lot of success in eliminating those resprays and having a better year overall.
Yeah, I think exactly right. Take your time, do it right the first time, and it's going to benefit. It's easy to get in the trap of trying to go fast and hurry and everything else like that, but doing it a proper application and a good application is going to be beneficial to you in the end. And that starts from mixing all the way out to spraying it out and picking the right products. So everyone, thank you for joining us for this video. We'll see you next time. Be sure to like and subscribe to Nozzleheads to keep up with our latest videos.